Hi, I'm Gila, sacred erotic love mentor, poet, and author, and it's collaboration Ascension series. And I have a special guest here today, Georgina Beament. I hope I said that correctly.
You did.
I had to think about that, so I apologize. Before I have her speak a little bit about herself, I just wanted to say that I saw her channeled messages on Facebook, and I was just blown away. It was just really, spoke to my heart. And, I've been following 11 of 11 Awakening. I think that's the name of it. And for a long time. And so I'm just really, really excited that she's here today. And as you know, this series is about really collaborating with healers, channelers, way showers, authors, so that each one of us and you who are watching can have kind of a closer look at who's behind the scenes of this person that you might be following. And if they resonate with you, you might want to continue that process with them. So with that, Georgina, if you could just say a few words about yourself, I'm really, really glad you're here.
Well, I really appreciate you inviting me, first of all. And it's really funny because before you made contact with me, I was approached by 1111 Awakening radio show. But prior to that, little did people not know is that I did get an inner calling, an inner desire to speak my message, because I do social media where you all hide behind and you post these things, and these people are obviously committing their life to share their talents and energy with people, but they're not really exposing themselves to who they are. But for some reason I had that inner call to start to become more public of my journey, how it started, and how I've been called to do what I do fully with love and commitment, but also to step up now and to express my journey in more of a visual way. So little did you not know, and the people who I've been friends with for quite some time, that it was something that I was guided to, and then this opportunity did actually come up. So the guidance and the alignment of it has been absolutely perfect, and it is time for us all to collaborate in this way, to express and to make people feel not so alone within this time, because it is totally normal and natural. But to be able to express that and to be seen expressing that, to say that it's all okay, is really important now. And I really thank you for giving me this opportunity to be seen and to be heard, and to help me build my confidence in doing stuff like this, because it takes quite a lot of courage. As we said before we spoke, I'm not in my comfort zone when I'm speaking, but I'm learning to like looking at myself and hearing what I share, and have confidence and faith that I can be seen to talk as much as I can be seen when I write. So I think I'm finding my balance here for sure, and you're helping me do that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That is so beautiful. You're so, so kind. Really, I can feel it in my heart. I don't know if my words can even express it, but really your kindness like exudes. So thank you for that.
Oh, I really appreciate it.
I appreciate this as well. I think it's totally aligned, divinely timed.
100%. And the the actual guidance of when you listen to it and you really listen to the signs and the feeling and the emotion of when spirit wants you to do something, and when your higher self is ready to step up into that space, sometimes you're put in positions where you just have to do it. But I know this is 100% what I'm supposed to be doing right now with you, and the right people are coming into my life, like your life too, and the collaboration and the exchange is absolutely perfect for those who are watching in this really critical time of transition. And people are, and the gentleness of our exchange as well, because there's a lot of people in the spiritual world that can come across incredibly invasive, and you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. And I do think that is something I'd like to touch on in this interview, is to be real gentle of how you how you use your energy, but who you are with. during your awakening time, because it doesn't have to be rigid and hard, and you don't have to follow all these rules, you know.
Yes,
It can be very easy and gentle, and you know, there's no set way of doing things, you know.
I really we will touch on that. I just, before we go there, I wanted to just
Yeah.
talk a little bit about your journey. If you could share that with us, how you came to space.
God, it takes me back quite a way. But as a child, it started when I was very, very young. I always felt incredibly different to everyone in my school. I didn't like school. I didn't feel like I fitted in, but I also didn't like the system of how it felt. I did have learning difficulties. I'm dyslexic, so and that was never, I was never kind of recognised I had dyslexia. I always used to read books backwards, or start in the middle and then read a page back, or when I was reading I'd jump pages and stuff, or paragraphs should I say. So and the system really wasn't set up back then for people with disabilities, so I kind of always felt like I wasn't part of, you know, what I would call a structure that was set. So I always felt very different, but I really generally did feel different because I could feel emotions. I could sense people's emotions. I see things that other people didn't see. And when I went to bed at night, I see spirit, I see UFOs, aliens, and, you know, I spent a lot of time in my mum and dad's bed because spirit used to visit me and it used to scare me and actually was guided to. My mum took me to a place, someone that helped me channel the energy differently, and to help me understand why I was being shown what I was being shown, which helped my path a lot. But I'd spent a lot of time as a child feeling incredibly misunderstood by other people, not my family, because my mum's very spiritual. Her family is incredibly spiritually open, crystal healing and meditation. So I was really lucky there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I used to tell mum stuff, she used to say, it's okay, you know, I've seen stuff too. And dad, he would never really express it, but dad, he has had lots of pre-vision dreams. Like he actually see his brother die in a dream, and a week later he actually died the way he dreamt it. And then dad's seen spirit as well, but he would never really express that or show that. So having me as a child, and Kelly as well, because my twin sister has the ability as well.
Wow.
You know, we was always kind of understood. So I was really lucky as a child to have a family that was spiritually open, as to not to make us feel like judged or weird or strange. And mum was guided to people to help me understand and to feel that I wasn't going crazy. And I was guided to some wonderful, wonderful people who told me who I was as a spirit and what I would be doing as in the future, which I'm doing now. And I didn't actually believe them. I didn't believe them at all. I was introduced to a lot of psychic people who told me what I would be doing, and I thought it was a load of rubbish back then. I really did. But as you know, on your journey, if you're here to do something, you're guided regardless of whether you want it or not. Everything's taken from you for you to see, and especially when the time is right. It might not necessarily feel right for you, but the timing is absolutely right. And I've been on my journey through gradual stages, from a child to a teenager to my biggest shift was when I was 30, was 29. And then things really did, it was a whole new level of awakening. And I lost everything. So I can open up on that a little bit more. But yeah, I literally was brought to my knees, as they say. And I was told, you're not listening, you're not paying attention. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And this is how we're going to do it. And it took literally everything away from me, destroyed my family bond with my my mum, my dad, who I
Wow.
was incredibly close with. We're okay now, but
Yeah.
it was not just my shift, it was a family shift.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was shown through my awakening, and everyone was part of that. So my mum went through a very deep spiritual awakening, as did my sister as well as my dad, and everyone was shown how perfect everything was in that time. But we can discuss that at another point. But yeah, so my spiritual awakening went through from a very young child, of seeing a dimension to different levels of dimension of all my awakening. So yeah, it's been a long process, and I'm doing exactly what I was told I was going to do was so when I was so naive and so not rebellious, but just said, yeah, okay, whatever. But I knew deep down in my heart I was different to the average person at that time, and that and I'm doing what I was told I'll be doing, and it feels good. It
Good.
feels so good. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I think a lot of us, when we're in this, also when I was a child, I always felt different. I always felt like, when people wanted to compete, I was like, oh, why are you competing? I would do it, and then I would be like, why am I doing this? It doesn't feel right. And I have to say that I also have recently been through something that really brought me to my knees. So yeah, if you want to go into that a little bit further, I think that might be helpful, because people might be going through that right now.
Yeah.
And I think to speak to that might help them.
Yeah. Well, bringing to your knees, it literally is bringing people to their knees, because you, as your ego self, think you know better, but your higher self knows the better way, the way you're supposed to be in this present moment. And we see the signs, but we ignore them and we suppress them. And people say that they don't see the signs, and I say, you sure about that? Because I know personally everyone is aware of certain things, and whether it's like a personal thing, or something that's happening that you're resisting, there's always signs that our body is picking up on where we should be or where we shouldn't be. And I certainly got the messages when I was in a relationship for 9 years, that I was supposed to be with him. He was certainly there to protect me, but it wasn't right. And although we'd gone through a hell of a lot of healing and forgiveness and growth, I never could see myself with him at the end. Although when we did actually split, is probably when we was at our peak, at our best, and I started up an online dating site called The Look of Love.
Oh.
After the song, The Look of Love. So not many people actually know that. I started an online dating site in my local area. It was zoomed into Essex. I had a radio station connected. But prior to that, I was working in London, and I wasn't happy in my job. And I lost my granddad and uncle very close together. And I went into work and I just thought, I don't want to work here anymore. And they were making people redundant, but they weren't making me redundant. And I was really upset about that. So I went to the managing director and I said, I'd like to take voluntary redundancy. And he said, no, because we like you. And I said, well, I know you like me, but I really don't want to be here and I want to leave. So I was lucky enough that they accepted that eventually, and they paid me a nice lump of money, which gave me some time to, have some time off, a break from London work, and to reevaluate my life of really what do I want to do. And I had 3 years of not working. But the last part of my 3 years was I was actually connected to a hairdresser, and she said to me, she was a very good friend of mine, and she said to me, George, you've really got many talents, and you're so good with people, you're excellent, and you've got so much love, and I think you'll be fantastic at doing online dating. Why don't you start an online dating. I've got a client, she makes a lot of money from that, because obviously, you know, I was thinking, but you know what, it absolutely lit up 1,000 light bulbs. And I was supposed to be in that hairdresser's, she was supposed to tell me this, and it was supposed to trigger light bulbs up in my head. So I went home, spoke to my parents, spoke to my partner at the time. His name was Stephen, not Matthew, obviously. And everyone thought it was a fantastic idea. My brother invested; he actually gave me money, and I joined. We set up I got the logo done, registered the business, The Look of Love, and it was a big project. You know, we had sponsorships and stuff, and it was fantastic. We got to near to the end of launching it, and I decided to go on to an online dating site, and to do some research on how other people were moving within this. So I got to be aware of the structure of the website. And you have to, back then there was quite a stigma around online dating sites. And I said, right, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is, and you have to do this, and you have to pay £10 to do this. And I asked my mum, I said, what should I do? She said, pay £10. So if that's what you have to do to talk to men, then do so. So I spoke to my partner at the time. He was happy with that. And I actually met another guy on an online dating site. And out of God knows 100 people that made contact with me with no picture, I was very drawn to this guy. And all I'm going to say to you, I was always meant to meet him, and he was a catalyst to my life. And he broke me from my current boyfriend, Stephen, at the time. I was with 9 years. But my mum met him before I met him, and the friends that I met were connected to him throughout the journey, and the whole process just unfolded, and I was guided to this person at the most perfect time, yet it was so destroying. It absolutely shattered my 9-year relationship. It broke my family life, because my mum was very angry with me, and so was my dad, and so was my sister, although my sister knew that this was right, because she met this guy, and she liked him as well, but she could understand what was going on. My mum could understand what was going on, but she was in that kind of resenting and upset for my current partner as well, because he was a part of our family. And everything just tumbled, and my mum did kick me out of the house, but I left the house. I packed my bags up and I left, and I lived with my sister. My sister left with me as well. We both packed up and left. And we moved out into a flat. I didn't have a job. I used my wedding money that I saved of £12,000 for rent, and to help Kelly out with the rent as well. And we lived together for 2 years. But the guy that I met, we did have the connection was just so powerful, something that I've never experienced in my life. But it had a huge purpose to break and cut me from the old life to bring me into my awakening, and it cracked open my heart chakra, and it made me question my whole existence. It made me question who I was. It made me question everything that I knew that was in my comfort zone. I didn't eat. I went down to a stick. I was about 6 stone. I wasn't drinking or eating, and when I was drinking, it was alcohol, and then I was smoking, like chain smoking. I was reading books, like I was looking on the internet. I was soul searching. It made me look at everything. But out of all of this, I was seeing that everything was perfect. I could see the connections. I could see the codes. I was being guided to things. I could see things that the guy that I left my current partner for could not see. I could see the connection to everything, and everything made absolute perfect sense to me. I felt like I was going crazy, but in actual fact, I was so sane. I was so awake. I see everything in a different light. And I just felt, again, misunderstood by a lot of people. Although my mum could see the pattern, because my mum met this guy before I did. She so did, like weeks before I'd even met him. She could see that it was always going to happen, but because she was in this kind of hatred, resenting and angry, it was very cloudy until the healing process months and months later, and we was able to join things together. Mm-hmm. She then actually could see, as Kelly could see as well, that I was never meant to be with my partner that I was currently with, and this guy was brought into my life to break this old life and birth me into a new. And then I wanted to deeply understand why he came to me, and I wanted to deeply understand his connection to me. Was he a twin soul? Was he a soulmate? Was he this? And it led me into all these questions. And I wanted help. I wanted not so much help, crazy help. I wanted to be understood. I understood that no one could translate for me. I was the translator of it, but no one could relate to me. So I was introduced to a person, one of my friends, who introduced me to someone up in Scotland. And I did a spiritual retreat for quite some time up there. And they showed me so much. And in fact, they actually said that, thank you for listening to your heart. We were expecting you to come. They was actually foreseeing me. And they said, welcome, your time is now. And then they opened me up deeper to the matrix of life. And they talked about the water, the food industry. They checked all they literally went through my bag, checked all my products in my bag to see what was in my products, like tampons, Tampax, what was in my shampoo, what medication I was on. They taught me what was in the water. And they told me what news does to the psyche. They then taught me how to meditate and use how to transcend things. So work with meditation where you can actually come to a place, and when you get to that place and you listen to your heart, when you come out of that space, whatever you've seen in your meditation, act upon without fear. Oh wow, they did so much, so much, and they brought me to a new understanding of so much. Yet they brought me to understand that the connection I had with this guy was absolutely perfect. So much so that when I did go into a meditation state and I did see stuff in my meditation, and I see stuff through that vibration, whatever I was being shown in my meditation, once I come out of meditation, they went around the room and they said, what did you see? And I told them, and then they told me to message him, and message him without fear or doubt, totally trust. And I can't do that. Yes, you can. You're being guided to do what you're doing, and you must listen to that, because everything that you're doing right now has led you to this place because you've trusted your heart. So why aren't you trusting now in fear of what is coming up for you? Are you fear of rejection or whatever? My sister was up there at the time in this retreat as well. So I typed the letter and she pressed send. And then as I sent it, 5 minutes later, he came back, and everything that I see in my meditation and my vision was exactly what he was going through. Wow. And he thanked me. He thanked me for making contact with him, because he was actually asking me to make contact with him. And I didn't realize at that time he was suicidal. He was going through a really, really bad patch. And he was asking for help. And I see that in my third eye. And I typed, hi, how are you? My sister's pressed send, and he came back and he thanked me for making contact. What that taught me is majority of people ignore what their heart is telling them through fear, through rejection. And I had to work through a lot of those things to actually just say, do it now, and don't doubt it. And when you are in that place of listening to your heart and trusting your heart and do it, you save so much delay, so much delay, so much of that, doubt and all those things just go when you just listen to your heart and just do it anyway, like we have today. You made contact with me, I said yes, we arranged, we did it. We don't really know each other, but we just listen to our hearts. And if anything of what I've shared with you now is by me not listening to my heart, the universe made things really hard for me. And then it got me to a stage where it says, you're not listening to me, and I'm going to take everything away from you right now. But what if that was just always going to happen at that time? And I just reached that stage, which I actually did with this guy. And my contract with my ex-partner had come to an end at that stage. And everything at that moment just ended and crashed. And I do think that these cycles that we're all going through in our lives now are ended, and it's bringing people to that like emergency stop. And it's like, and it's removing everything. And what feels unhealthy and what feels like a wrong is actually right. And
That's really funny that you say that.
if people was to listen
I
to
to hear that statement.
Yeah, if people were just to listen to their hearts, they had the warning signs before that emergency stop and the crash. And what if it's not the fact that the universe was actually saying, you're not listening, I'm going to now bring it to your knees, but just that it was just the end, and it was perfect at that time. And he was a destruction, a beautiful destruction. He broke my heart, and he turned my life upside down. Yet I've got so much to be thankful for him, and really, really grateful, because I would never have met Matthew, and I would never have been doing all the things that I'm doing right now, and I certainly wouldn't have had Theodore. I actually did a lot of healing work with this guy, because he was the biggest connection that I've had in my life. And I wrote to him, and I told him everything, and I didn't care what he thought, because at the end of the day, I knew that he would understand it at some point in his life, because I was part of his shift too.
Wow, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. And I think that, to be honest, I think that all of us have gone through something like that. I know I have, that brought me to my knees, really to my knees. Similar to you, I was drinking, I was smoking, I was like totally, I don't know where I was numbing myself. But I got to such a low place in my life that I really just, maybe similar to you or somewhat different, but I asked God. I was like, what am I supposed to do? I just, threw my hands up. I was on the floor almost literally. And it was that at that point that my heart opened to say, I've had enough of the games. Like, just, I'm opening my heart to whatever you bring, you're guiding me to birth. And then my life, like, gradually, but I made a conscious, aware decision that I had never done before in my life. And I know that some of the people that are watching me, who I know are my followers, are going through something like that, or have been, and are now walking into something that is completely new, that they are co-creating. That's also equally frightening, because you don't know where you're going.
Yeah, and you don't need to know where you're going, because the journey and the discovery is meant to be, and I know I want to say it in the way I'm feeling it, is like in the surrender. Right. And it's like being on a journey of discovering, just going for a drive, and let's just see what we find. And that's how this journey feels right now, is like how I'm manifesting the people, the opportunities, is like that it's just popping up in in all directions, and that is more exciting than actually planning something, like having a vision and saying, right, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. I've already done that bit, and it's manifesting that way. And if people only realize that when you get yourself out the way, things just flow. You know, it's such an easier place to be in, but it takes time to get there. And wherever, if there's anyone out there, or your followers, my followers, that are going through this and it's very new to them and everything feels unfamiliar, you know, just take your time. There's no hurry. You know, it comes, and all you need to do is ask, and it will come. When you say you're ready to the universe, when you say you're ready to your angels, when you fall to your knees and say, I'm not in control here, I surrender, show me, it does come. It comes, and it comes fast. You know, it really does come fast, and it comes in most beautiful, magical ways. And there's nothing to fear. There really isn't. There's no, you know, there really is nothing to fear. But feel the feeling of, you know, feel however you feel, and it's totally okay to feel it. If you're scared, that's okay. You know, it's really okay. So it's okay to doubt as well, because doubt will be replaced by things being shown to you, and over time doubt will become less. Is
Yeah,
that right? Would you say that?
yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. And
The more you lean in, the more you just say, I surrender, show me, over time you will be shown, and the doubt will become less. Because it's like, when I do my coaching sessions, when I talk energy, I talk about muscles. So muscles and energy for me is a word that I use. And seeing is believing is another thing that I use. And someone that's trying to lose weight, and they follow a routine, in 6 months' time, the results are amazing if you stick to it. The spiritual journey is exactly the same if you stick to it and you trust yourself and totally in a surrender state, and you do your inner work. Eventually, those muscles become secure, and you start to see the results. And you, rather than doubting, you trust. And I'm in that space. I know you're in that space. And if anyone's not in that space, just give yourself time. Give yourself time. It will happen. It will happen. But just have faith and trust yourself. Faith is a big word right now for everyone. Just have faith.
yes,
You're bigger than you think you are.
yes, you're so right. And I would want to add that sometimes when I doubt, you know, specific things going on with me, I remember that when I did trust my intuition, I actually go through it. Like, you know, and you're right, it's kind of like this building block, you know, it's like, well, I wanted this before and I got it, you know, and I wanted that and it happened, you know, so, and that was my heart guiding me. So what's to say now, even though it seems like it's here, it's really not, it's my perception. Because we're always in motion, and sometimes we take a step back and we think, oh yeah, we're like, it's all kind of askew. But in reality, you know, in the cosmic world, you know, it's all just in flow. You just have to be in flow. And
totally. Well, there's loads of posts that go around, and it says all the things that you're asking for, you've got now. Mm-hmm. And we forget about that. We're constantly asking, and we're living that now. You know, yet people still not kind of living that existence. So everything I've asked for, I've got. So I keep asking and I keep doing, and it comes, and it's everlasting, and it is ever flowing, and it's incredibly generous to us all. It's not just for one or for some or for, you know, the elites or whatever. It's for everyone. And it's breaking down the old conditioning within us that we've lived in this old world, and rebirthing that people feel uncomfortable in right now, because the old world is gone, and the new energies are supporting the new light of how we manage our energy and work with that, and totally have faith in that as well. I'm not to be looked up on just because I've got a large following. I'm on the same level of everyone else, and You know, I have days where it just does not flow, and I have a shit day and I have a really shit time, and excuse my language, but yeah, it's bloody hard. But I've got the tools and resources to use to return to when I lose my way. And I'm sure there's many, I know there's many spiritual people who have been thrown off their, especially within these energies right now, have been completely thrown off their pedestals, and brought to their knees again to reevaluate their values and assess their energy of where they've got lost in, and to evaluate everything in their lives and to work that. But you know, each stage that you go through, you learn something new and different, and every tool is been placed there for you to use and to return to at any time. And I know many people understand what I'm saying there.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that. Um, I think it's just really important that you share that, and just your humility is amazing, because you know it's we really are we're all, you know, we're all one, you know, we're all source energy. And
Yes.
I, you know, part of the reason I actually created this series is because we support each other to create a new paradigm, a new dimension in our lives. And unless we work together, we're not going to be able to do that. So
No.
I truly appreciate you sharing
Yeah.
this.
You have to be real, and Theodore, I'm sure, has been placed in my life to disrupt it, to learn new ways of being, and he certainly has done that for me. And I feel like I'm in his school right now, learning, and he's killing my ego. I'm dying in areas, and I'm having to be reborn into new things. And I know for me, every time I get comfortable is a dangerous place. I've always been best out of my comfort zone, and growing and feeling a bit of pain as well. People think this journey is a comfortable ride. It isn't. When you're in your comfort zone, start to ask yourself, what am I not doing? Because, you know, every time I get comfortable, I'm thrown out into uncomfortable, and it comes in, either comes through Matt, or come through Theodore, or come through a friend, and it completely throws me to think, what am I doing, and to reevaluate and to change. So the new in is the uncomfortable. I really, you know, it's a word that comes up, be uncomfortable, and feel comfortable with that. You know, I don't want people to think that it's easy. There are times where it's really hard, and when I look at where it's hard is where I need to learn new ways, new things. And I don't sit there and say I know it all, but I know enough for now, and that's perfect for me. And I think that's just it. People, when they start their journey, or whether they're in their journey and they lose their way, they keep returning to all these books and these leaders and this and that, and it becomes really foggy and confusing. And I say that again, it does come, you know, you read so much stuff and you take so much data in, and you forget that everything is within you. You know, you're your own guide, and we make it so much difficult. We go on this course, we do that, we do this, we do that, you know. And I've got to say, I've done courses and I've done certain things, but the majority of what I've manifested has come from me and me alone. And I've built an empire of pages because it's come from me. I haven't gone to a marketing person to know how to do that. I've done that from my own vibration. And I want people to know that they can do that too. Stop looking outside for that. Have total self-belief that you have that ability. You don't need to pay thousands of pounds for all these courses. You really don't. If you're in an authentic group, you should be able to help people with great ease to lift them up into a space. It shouldn't cost an absolute fortune to do that. And there's a new reality birthing within the communities that these old ways are going to die very quickly, if they haven't already, because it's such a false illusion, all this buying spiritual glamour. It's sickening. And you know, those who are ready with people with I Coach, the exchange should be quite fast. And if it's not, it soon will be. in time. You know, there's a time for everything, and, you know, not to overdo things and read this and read that, because they all read the same but just in different languages and different versions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Just
totally
listen to your heart. Yeah, people are blown away. They think that I've done a marketing course on this and that, and no, I do it because I love doing what I do, and love attracts everything. You know, when you're passionate about something and you believe it so much, it generates more of the same. And when you open your heart up in that space and become relatable, that's another thing, another subject, you know, another area, you know, this authentic way of where people are actually saying, I'm struggling, actually attracts more people, because people want to feel that. They want to feel understood. All this kind of glamour stuff is, you know, people just, I don't relate to it. I just think I've kind of closed down. I want to be able to, I want to be understood. I want to be listened to. And especially in my life right now with Theodore, I'm now seeking it in mums. I want to be around authentic mummies and people that actually say, George, it's really hard. And I feel the same, and not sit there and say, yeah, it's great, and, you know, I don't have those problems. I want people I can relate to, and people that I can be really truthfully honest with and be accepted on all levels. And I think that's where a lot of people are at right now, because everyone's emotionally been raped in this other world of fakeness.
Yes.
You know, the real fake world, and abused in that world. And there's been so much masking and suppressing, and that is no longer allowed to be within our DNA and our energies. You know, everything's unraveling now in everything. So if I want that, I want everyone to feel that who's around me. I want them to say, yeah, I'm having a bad day, but that's okay.
Yes. I no,
Because I
I
have
totally
them.
agree. I mean, I think that, you know, even what you said earlier and what you're even saying now, it's like when you can really move from your heart space, which I think is the most challenging part of any of our journeys, because I think we've all had so many masks, and, you know, we just haven't lived like that. You know, we just were never shown how to. But the truth of the matter is that you're saying as well, and that I believe, is that we don't need to be shown. We already know. It's just a question of following our heart to its highest journey, because it already knows the way.
Totally. And all you need to do is ask, and then trust the inner voice, and go back to what I was saying. In meditation, when you really do become still and you really go into that state of surrender, and all you can feel is your heartbeat, and the outside world becomes quiet, you do hear the inner guidance, and you are shown this. And people think, oh, but you've worked that. I didn't. I just went to a place and I actually gave myself time to be still enough to hear it. We are all so busy. Got to do this, got to do that, got to be there, got to be with that person, got to go this, got to do that. You know, we're busy ourselves so much, we forget to listen to what our inner self is telling us. And I just, for that moment and thereon, had a moment with myself and was shown. And I had to face my fear and surrender to that state to get the answers. And when you reach that space of surrender and listen to your heart, you're shown a whole new world, your world, that's been calling you. Your world has been calling you. It's just that you haven't been paying attention. But now it's time to pay attention. Now it's time to listen to your heart. Now it's time to step up into that greatness. And when you do that, things just flow. They do. They do. They really do. And I know when I come back from Scotland, I felt like this. I was like a fireball of passion. I wasn't like feisty, but I was like, I want to go out and I want to tell everyone. I want to share my love with the world. And boy, oh boy, I really have been sharing my message for many years with the world. And it's overflowing. That 11 page is serving so many people, and everything that I wanted it to be is right now. And You know, I don't do much to it other than post, but it supports a vibration that is so, what I feel is essential for this time, as exactly what I was showing it for 1111. It is a portal that's helping and supporting the vibration of people's transitions, and it's bringing a lot of people around the world together. And that's just one of many, many light workers around the world that
Yes,
have done
yes.
exactly what I've done.
Thank you. Thank you for that page. It's definitely helped me. I read it every day. So I really appreciate it. The messages truly resonate with me. And your personal messages from your personal page also resonate with me. So thank you for showing us the inner workings. But I think we're all in that space of going bigger. You know, even I was just interviewing someone yesterday that introduced another idea for me that is out of my comfort zone. But I will do it because I feel that if it's out of my comfort zone, like you just said, that means I'm being called to be bigger, to really show my presence up. Like you said, sometimes we hide behind the social media. So, you know, I need to, or for myself, I know that this is what I'm being called to do and I have to do it. So, any of you who are watching, who you're feeling that pull to do something new out of the zone, of where you can still hide, you know, go out and do it.
Totally. Yeah, no, just do it. And I set up another page called A Brave New World, and I was looking at stuff, and since having Theodore and nappies and all the stuff, the resources that you have for a baby, and I'm just thinking, where do all these nappies go? Are they, you know, what happens to them? Because I didn't know, you know, I've not been in this world. So he's kind of opened my world to a whole new understanding. And has this always been going, or is it just now that I'm waking to a new part? And I'm just waking up to a new part because my eyes have been blinkered on one area. But then there was like, but we can't focus on this side because it's negative. But actually negative is where the positive is. So we need to be focusing here. We need to be talking about the dolphins that are being slaughtered, because not talking about it is allowing people to get away with certain things. We need to be talking about these nappy situations, because there aren't many companies that are changing within the UK, and people aren't making, you know, they're getting away with it. And there's a lot of things that my baby uses, and there's a lot of babies in as well. So there's a lot of nappies. So where do they go? And they're not disintegrating. That's affecting the world. So having Theodore made me look in other areas. And then when I went to our local tip dumping area, I actually don't feel comfortable within that space, because I'm thinking now, where does all that waste go? You know, and it made me feel different. And then I thought I need to do something. So I'm rolling around in bed and I'm thinking, I'm being shown something. I'm being guided to something. And then that's when I was going to call it the Tree of Life, and then A Brave New World. And it came up so strong in a song, it came up in a film, and it all was like, and then I said, I've created a new page called A Brave New World. I am not really fully using it the way I want it, because I have got a bigger vision for it, because I want to bring up about authentic makeup, authentic food, authentic mothering, you know, also helping people to reflect that everybody is part of this shift of how we can be better, and helping people see that it's not a government thing, it's your responsibility. We are the change, not the government or presidents or, you know, local councils or whatever. We, each an individual, have a choice to look at our lives and see what resources we're using and how we can be the change to that. So I'm totally out of my comfort zone in this new area that I've been guided to through Theo. So yeah, like you said, I'm out of my comfort zone. It's good. I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm expanding. And what felt quite daunting is actually started to feel quite comforting. And I get up through the night sometimes, not because I can't sleep, because I'm worried, because I've got ideas coming to me. And when you're in that space, you're in creation, you're in something that's quite special. And listen to that. Listen to those little nighttime talks that turn you on and make you feel good, because you're onto something that I feel that the world needs right now. And everyone's been guided how to be better and what to do. So if you are having those nighttime thoughts or daytime thoughts where you can't get it out of your head, but you're thinking, oh, I'm not too sure, just do it. And you'll be guided to those things. And you don't have to do everything. There's a lot of opportunities to collaborate with people who feel the same. And the journey could be quite light. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and thinking, how do I have the time? Not necessarily it will take up all your time. You can collaborate with someone that will help you on your journey.
That's great.
Have I been talking too much?
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, you're saying a lot of amazing things. It's just there's a lot of information, but people can rewind and play it again, so they can definitely listen to it. So I think it's really important. That's it. Because you're right.
Yeah.
We get a lot of intuitive hits all the time, and someone told me this, like, you should work on it like 5 seconds later. Just do it. Because all of them are going to guide you to your, to a better situation for yourself and for others. So it's important that you listen. We do have to close soon, but I did want to ask you how people can connect to you, and if you have any services people can access. So if you could just let us know about that now.
Well, I do have obviously Ascension MBS, which is my business that I do, and it's connected to my Facebook page. I also have Ascension MBS page as well, group. Mainly my work is done through my Georgina page, but it is interlinked. I have essential products for chakras. I do energy work. I'm a chakra practitioner, trained practitioner, got diploma, which birthed the chakra products, and the essential. I've got 54 blends that I work with as well. So there's other ranges of products that I want to birth within this new reality. It's just finding the time to, ask when the time's right, it will happen. I know that. And I coach people as well. I'm very good with relationship counselling, chakra cleansing, people that are going through transitions, endings and new beginnings, for jobs, relationships, even healthy eating. I'm wonderful with working with your angels. So angel guidance is one thing I love working with people, and numerology as well. What else? There's quite a lot more, but Ascension MBS, there's quite a lot on my website, so people would like to visit there. That's www.essentialmbs.com.
Perfect. I'll put that in the notes in the YouTube, so people don't, if they lost it or didn't remember it, don't worry. It'll be written and you can access it straight from here. I recommend, if Georgina is resonating with you, that you definitely check out her Facebook pages and go into further introspection if it's calling you to work with her, because that is your soul guiding you to something that's going to be opening up for you. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. And anyone else who's interested in working with me, I'm actually working on something specifically right now about telling your story. So if there's things that you are still harboring that are holding you back, I'm going to help you to write it down and to release some of that so that you can open up into new energy. And details for my website will be in the YouTube details as well. So I encourage you to just follow what your guidance is saying, just like Georgina told us so exquisitely in her story today. If you'd like to share anything more, Georgina, before we close, please let me know.
Trust your path. Trust who you're guided to. Trust the endings in your life. Don't fear change. Surrender to what is. Recognize what feels hard and what feels good, because I think we're all in a process of surrender right now, and when things are difficult, it's showing you something. So surrender into that space and ask yourself why, and you'll be guided to the answers, because if you listen to your heart, it'll be telling you aren't right. And don't be fearful to let go. I'm seeing a lot of relationships, long-term relationships, come to a drastic end. I mean, 30 years, 40-year relationships being separated right now. The heart chakra is very active. Listen to the heart and just surrender into that state. And if things are drastically taken away from you, trust that there's a higher purpose for that, and healing will take place and things will start to become clearer the more you trust your path. And that's it. Love always leads the way.
Yes, yes, yes. You're so right. Surrendering is really big right now for myself and my community as well. So I think that's the collective energy of surrender and really trusting your heart. And I know for many of us, it's challenging space because we're not used to being there. But I think this is going to be our new, space. That is the new space. That is a new paradigm of just trusting your heart. And it doesn't have to make sense. There is no logic there. It's just love.
Total love, total love. And even through separations, there's a higher love there. There's a song that is on replay. Listen to music. I mean, music's guiding people home in every sense. Messages on TV, people say don't listen to TV, but there's messages for everything. Don't block out certain things in life, be a vessel, allow things, because there's a lot of people telling you not to do certain things, but keep your views open, keep your energy open, and you'll be guided when to shut certain things off and open things up. Negative energy is also incredibly positive and also a wonderful place to growing and for us to transcend in and transmute. So when you're saying things are negative, why? Ask yourself why, and how can we do this better? I think I need to leave it there because we could go into a different
subject. That was very wise. Yeah, you'll come on another time. But yeah, lots of wise words here. I would recommend you replay this and listen again because there's a lot of information here. But thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today.
Thank you so much. I send you lots of love, and I'm very, very grateful for this experience this evening.
The same to you.